In a far corner of India lies a peaceful, secluded valley that is often described as one of the most beautiful parts of the world. It is the famous Vale of Kashmir, the land of the Shalimar. It is a land of lakes and rivers, encircled on every side by high mountains. And along these rivers, canals, and lakes, you can go from end to end of the country by water in a comfortable houseboat like this. We are drifting down the Jhelum River, which for 3 miles forms the main street or gay waterway of the city of Srinagar, the capital city of the land. The name means the city of the sun. The city is very old, dating back 2,000 years, although of course it has been rebuilt many times. In about the 15th century, Kashmir enjoyed particular happiness under the rule of the great Mughal emperors of India, and the scene of one of the most romantic and passionate love stories of the world was laid in this very land. It is the story of the Emperor Shah Jahan and Mumtaz Mahal, and of the immortal monument of the Taj Mahal that the Emperor built for her in India. Presently, we will visit the actual scenes of that story at the Shalimar Gardens on the Dal Lake of Kashmir, and afterwards go to visit the Taj Mahal at Agra in India. Life in Kashmir seems to be one continuous upstream and downstream affair, and you can well imagine that boat building is one of the important industries here. Great logs are being brought into the city from the mountain forests to be used for boat building or for house building. Glorious snow mountains form the distant walls of this carpenter's shop, where the carpenters work all day long in the lovely sunshine of Kashmir. They are building a boat and are sawing the planks from the deodar wood, a remarkable native wood that stands the water unpainted for 50 years. They are aided in using their crude and simple tools by the wonderful accuracy of their eyesight. All Indians and Kashmiris have marvelous sight. He is cutting 2 planks for the boat so straight and true that they will be perfectly watertight when placed together. Another happy craftsman is busy making the furnishings for the houseboat. Did you ever see a more primitive lathe than this? Made of 2 posts, hammered in the ground with 2 long nails driven through for the lathe points. With one hand occupied in driving the lathe, he has only one hand for the tool, so he uses his toes and seems to use them just as easily as his hands. And out of this primitive lathe comes a perfectly turned leg of a table. He can also do the most intricate and elaborate work in shaping wheels and spiral candlesticks. This is a tenement type of houseboat. It is the home of this simple girl and her family. Very often you'll find a few chickens, a goat or a cow in the boat. The smart set in Kashmir have sun parlors on the roofs of their boats, highly decorated with railings and flower pots too. What's this? Not the barber of Seville. Oh no, just an old Kashmiri custom. The barber deluxe. The customer gets service while seeing the sights. You know, in Kashmir, your neighbors change with the tide. Almost nothing left of his hair now. This one is going through a sort of dry cleaning process. It's all done without any fuss or bother by the roadside. A nice, smooth, dry shave, with a razor wiped now and then on the customer's coat for good measure. Now then, off with his eyebrows too. They call their little boats shikara. Like the gondolas of Venice, they are the taxis of Srinagar. But just look at the familiar names on them. Sunflower, Spring Chicken, Lusitania, Rolls-Royce, and here's Whoopie Wagon, hot stuffed spring seats. I'll bet there's a hot cover charge on that one. Now let's take Rolls-Royce and continue to cruise down the fascinating river. We were fortunate enough to be in the city at the time of the annual opening of the royal court of the great Maharaja, the ruler of Kashmir, and we saw the ceremony of the procession down the river. The Maharaja in his state barge, followed by his ministers and his subjects. Look, here comes the advance boat. Clear the way, clear the way. It's the Maharaja of Kashmir. Then the royal boat itself, with the standard bearer carrying the flag of Kashmir. Under an embroidered palanquin sits Maharaja Sir Hari Singh, one of the most powerful and richest of the independent princes of India, Prince Ruler of Kashmir. He glides smoothly by, paddled by 100 oarsmen, all keeping perfect time with the strokes of their paddles. And now see who comes. In crowds of little boats come crowds of little Maharajas. Each one is bursting with pride and importance, and each one is trying to paddle his canoe up into the front rank. And here they come, and more and still more they come. After this regatta, they will go to offer their thanks and their praise to Allah. His evening prayer is a ceremony that a Mohammedan will never neglect. By the mosque on the riverside, or else collected in groups in the open streets, you will see them in the evening engaged in solemn prayer. Evening is drawing in. We are drifting down the river that leads us out of the city towards the distant mountains, towards the countryside and the picturesque villages beside the lakes, and also the lovely Shalimar gardens. Let us drift in our houseboat.